Krishna Hari from the BizTech Pulse podcast. Today we have our special guest, Mr. Iqbal Rana, the Chief Information Officer of K&N Engineering. Iqbal's career span over 2 decades in technology leadership, where he has consistently been at the forefront of digital innovation. As a CIO, he has played a wide variety of enterprise-wise technology strategy, aligning IT with business outcome and fostering a culture of agility and resilience. What particularly fascinating about Iqbal is his ability to blend the technical expertise with strategic business insight. He is not just a technologist, he's a transformational catalyst as well. From legacy system modernization to cloud adoption, from cybersecurity governance to AI experimentation, Iqbal has led initiatives that don't just solve IT problems, they unlock business value. He has worked across multiple geography, industry, including engineering, energy, construction, and services, brings a global mindset to every conversation. His leadership style is grounded in collaboration, curiosity, and customer first thinking. Iqbal, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Krishna. Thank you for having me. First of all, it's quite humbling to be here, quite humbling for what I heard so far as my introduction. Not a lot to add there, but just for giggles, I'm Chief Information Officer at K&N Engineering. It's an automotive aftermarket company. I've been with the company for now 6 years. In the past, I mostly worked with tech sector. And from there onwards, I worked with highly reputed tech sector companies before joining K&N Engineering. If I tell you a little bit about it, it started in 1969. It's a 55 plus years old company. Very famous one. We works in performance air filters. If you put our filters, your car will perform better, run faster, torque increases, horsepower increases. So pretty famous for their filters. The company is also expanding in the data center side as well. So we are putting filters into data centers, and large customers like Apple and Amazon, we are looking at those as well. So that's where the company is going. Happy to be here. We can talk more as we progress.
Sure. Thank you. A couple of things. I know K&N Engineering uses a homegrown ERP system. Given your experience, what are the different challenges of having a homegrown system, and how do you cope up with the new advancement which comes along in the technology with a homegrown system like this?
That's a very good question, Krishna. You will hear a lot about my experiences speaking with other CIOs, executives in different other organizations. So I recently was at a conference and I met a couple of leaders who talked about having homegrown systems in their organization, and they've had it for decades. First of all, everybody needs to understand that why does it happen? It happens because a lot of these companies are family-oriented companies. They start small, but then they grow so big that at some point, their homegrown systems become big and difficult to replace. K&N is similar to that. It started as a family-oriented company for a very long time. It developed its own ERP system. It originally started as an MES system, a manufacturing execution system, but then it grew its arms, actually tentacles, as you might call it. It has its tentacles to product lifecycle management, warehouse management system, and ERP, of course. So it is ingrained into the K&N culture. To replace this with another ERP system will take a considerable level of effort. But before I go to replacing it, since I have worked in previous companies with large ERP systems, namely Oracle, SAP, D365, those kind of softwares that have big names in the industry. When you come to this organization, you feel like, okay, that's the first big win you're going to do. You'll become a hero by bringing in the new ERP system because you are bringing in this new mindset that you had for 20 years of experience. You have to understand the needs of the company. So when I came and I wanted to understand how the ERP works, I can tell you with time, I understood the needs of the business and looked at how the ERP was performing and how much it was costing the company. I can tell you this, having used other top ERP system for 20 years, I think this ERP runs absolutely amazingly. Yes, there are, of course, pros and cons to it. We can talk about it, but it worked so flawlessly that I didn't feel the need to go in and say, hey, let's go to Oracle and spend this unlimited amount of millions to replace it. Yeah, so I had to look at the effectivity of the system, and I realized that it is very effective and replacing it is just not going to be easy.
Oh, okay. So when does the transition happen? At one point or other, right? And usually it happens on the mergers and acquisition, or if you spin off, have that milestone happened for K&N Engineering?
That's an excellent question, actually. We have acquired small companies in the past we have not been acquired.
Okay.
So if we are by a company that uses an ERP system, then I'm sure it will take some time to transition into the existing ERP system. But as itself, if we stay as we are, setting up an ERP system is a multi-million dollars, multi-year commitment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Going to the next question, your team implemented a great generative AI solution that reduced translation cost, expanded your reach to multiple countries. What made this AI use case succeed where so many others fail? Give us some perspective.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Krishna. I'll refer back to the very recent Gartner conference. And you probably hear me say this multiple times during
Yes.
this discussion also because it happened just last week. There was a lot of conversation about generative AI and cybersecurity and other areas. I'm still finding out as of yesterday or as of today that a lot of people are failing in their AI implementation. 70% of AI cases are failing. And as I always say, I'm a mid-sized company. We are very conservative in making decisions. If I'm going to implement something, it's going to work for us. I don't have that capacity to fail. Like tech sectors, they say fail fast and do more and keep doing it, right? They have those funds. We don't. We are a mid-sized company, product company. We need to get some profit out of our product. And for us, failing is not an option. So what we do is we pick the small use cases where we think we're going to get the most value. And we want to make sure that it's purely a generative AI solution. AI has been there for a very long time. A lot of people forget about this. AI has
Yeah.
been there for 50 years or so. Generative AI is what we are talking about specifically. And we need to find the right use cases there that'll be successful. So what we do is we pick the use case where we see most value. And second, what is most important for me always as a CIO, that our business users are totally onboarded with it. They will support us from the beginning to the end. And we found those business users in shape of international general manager that I worked with, my counterpart there. They were so supportive. They gave us all ample amount of time to try it out. They said, hey, we are with you. We succeed with you, we fail with you. So that was absolutely important for me to succeed. I picked a case where I had a full support from business and we saw that there was a value here. We did a quick test with one country. In this case, we did translations for our website. We said, hey, we'll start with a translation that already existed, Italian in this case. We used to have Italian site. And we said, hey, let's do it with generative AI with Italian language only. If that succeeds, we'll talk about the Spanish. We'll talk about French. But first and foremost, let's start with Italian, where we have smaller market relative to France, relative to Spain. This is how you phase it out. So it was a phasing out. And once the first phase worked, we went to the second one, we went to the third one. And that's how we picked our case and showed our value as well.
Give us a perspective of this translation itself. When did you start? What was your milestone? And even to select this translation among other use cases, where you had a methodology. I know you worked with the business and identified this, but within translation, for example, selecting Italian and then going to other languages, help me understand what was your investments, what was your team strength, what was the business value which came out of it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'll share what I can publicly.
Whatever it.
So we had a list of AI use cases, about 20 of them from different business users, from 1 to 20. We prioritized them. And like I said, I had to go with where we see the most value and which aligns with our current roadmap. For example, our site is knfilters.com. So we had just gone live with knfilters.eu.com. So that became the catalyst for us to say, hey, we have this knfilters.eu site. Could we make this a site where every European country goes to? That was the first thing. Before, we used to have a separate Italy site and separate French site and separate all the sites. Now, as soon as we did that, that became a catalyst. So that's one key reason. Second was, of course, the business users support was there. Third, when we started playing around with AI use cases, and I can tell you, we do have another use case that we were working on. It is almost there. It's very close to success, but there are some reasons why we are not live with that, and we can talk about that as well. But this one, when we did the translation, we verified it, and it's so close to what we already had and almost perfect. It had to be perfect or almost perfect for it to be accepted. Once our business user approved it and we went live with it, we did phased approach. Of course, we did get help from our consulting in the beginning to get guidance. So we did some poke with them. In the end, mostly we did it in-house with our team. and of course, the business users testing it. As far as the ROI is concerned, cost is concerned, I can just generally tell you this. We used to have 4 languages before: Italian, German, French, and Spanish. The process was I need to add a page. So I need to have this translation done. The translation was requested by a translation company. They would translate it and they will take their good time, 1 week, 2 weeks, and charge us some dollars. We get it. And then somebody from our team would verify it. If the translation is all good and that's the page we want, the business user will send it to IT, our DevOps team, to implement it. Now, depending on how many pages are being translated, page by page, they have to go modify and then publish them. Now you can see how many change of hands occurred and how much cost it cost and how much time occurred. In our case now, it's instant. You come to the page, it's translated. Of course, there's technical details to it, how we cache those things and how this translation happened quickly without people noticing it. That's another detail level question. But yeah, you can see the cost was involved there. And that cost was cut from that. Now we have the site, not only just Italian, German, French, Spanish, but now we added Swedish and Polish. We have 18 languages that we've added. So now you add more languages, now you have access to more countries. You see we have revenue coming in from those countries because we are into their languages. That's how this revenue and cost things balanced out for us. This is how this project was successful.
Wow, congratulations. I know you got your award from Gartner last week for this, right?
No, correction there. Award is from CIO 100, the
CIO.
foundry company, and I'm going there to pick it up in August.
The next question, basically, I know you have taken both the CIO and a CISO role. What led to that transition, and what is your view on cybersecurity? What experience you got out of it? Because I've seen you are the second or third person, the CIO taking the hat of a CI security officer as well. What are your thoughts? How will AI going to play a role in cybersecurity, if you can share?
First of all, I've been CIO for a few years now. CISO role, I took it at the beginning of the year. The thing is, a small mid-sized company, right? So I spoke to the CEO saying, hey, I'm taking up this CISO role. It's not like he had to hire somebody and double my pay. That didn't happen. That doesn't happen. What got me into this mostly in the beginning of the year was a couple of instances that happened, situations that occurred. I'll briefly mention those as well. But before I took over the CISO role, we didn't have officially CISO type of a conversation before. We do have amazing team who are looking at our tools and systems always and keeping our systems secure. We are secure in many which ways, by the way. We have multiple layers of secure. We have amazing DR program and business continuity plan. We are solid double, triple layers of security. We have Darktrace, we have Fortinet, we have amazing products there to double secure us. On top of that, team is always 24/7 watching it. So all the security was there. The tools were there in place. But what we didn't have was the culture in place. That's what I realized in the very beginning of the year, that we need to have the culture. We need to understand where we stand. What if, God forbid, something bad happens? How do we recover from it? Have we done all those exercises? Do we do that on a regular basis? Do we have that consistency? Those things were missing. I'll give you a quick example that kind of started it all for me. One tool that we had that we use for deployment purposes. I won't name the tool here. It's an amazing tool. We were one small patch behind it. And we were already planning to upgrade that next Friday. So Monday, I had a conversation. I said, let's do it on Friday. And we were able to watch it on Saturday, Sunday. So that was the plan. By Wednesday, I get an email from our insurance company saying, hey, by the way, it seems like your patch behind is at risk. So that was the first shock for me, that an insurance company, our insurance company, how did they find out that we were one patch behind? It's not like we were 2 or 3 patches behind. We were patching it. We knew about this being one patch down, and we were going to do it on Friday. It was all queued up. But seeing that email and seeing the insurance engagement, I realized how seriously they took it. And I said, what if this vulnerability had realized? What will happen in that case? That actually, light bulb went on for me. From there onwards, I said, no, it's not. We are not going to take anything easy. But then a month later, another incident happened. We were safe again. But I realized that just like a human body, you're moments away from something bad happening inside your body, you just do not know. And the next thing, your life completely changes. We should do what we can, just like we do for our bodies, right? I realized that I needed to make a more concentrated effort to secure our systems. This is what I'm doing, constantly changing the culture of the organization. Phishing tests have to become a habit. The penetration testing have to happen multiple times. Tabletop exercises have to happen multiple times, not one time. Executives have to be engaged in these conversations. It's just the whole culture change. This is the reason why I said, hey, I'm going to go to this Risk and Security Summit from Gartner. It's a pretty amazing conference, actually. What a lovely experience it was. I'm grateful to Gartner for setting this up. I learned a lot from there as well. That's how this transition happened to CISO, to answer your question. It's not about setting up some tools and saying, hey, I have the DR plan and I have these tools and I have this amazing company that is doing it. It's the culture that you have to change along with the tools. And you have to find gaps in different areas. Once you have a dedicated team, you will find those gaps. If you don't, you will not find them.
I agree. How do you see AI playing a role in the cybersecurity? I've heard about a lot of companies using AI. Even the cybersecurity products are nowadays AI, ML. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Again, that's a very good question, actually. I'll say it two ways. I love all the companies that I work for. They're amazing, world-renowned companies that we have in our place as well. And I love the partnership that I have with them. The term AI is thrown out very
Very
easily in
liberally.
every conversation. There's a lot of things that companies are doing previously, also automatically sending notifications. For example, if they saw some issue or some misbehavior in the network, they would send a notification. Now they call it AI also at times.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just thrown out very easily as well. Having said that, AI that we talk about these days mostly should focus on generative AI. And I truly believe that generative AI has made our lives might be easier on one side, but tremendously difficult on the other side. You have to see if 70% of our POCs fail, 70% of the companies are failing on their POCs, even though the remaining 30%, some of them are in POC stages, right? With that in mind, generative AI may not be as successful yet. You still have to see the benefits of generative AI. But the criminals on the other side, they have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
They are going to exploit these deficiencies, these vulnerabilities, and they will take advantage of it. So I think generative AI, while we're taking advantages of it, it comes with a lot of risk for cybersecurity. Coming back to the Gartner conference, there's a lot of conversation about generative AI and how things are becoming more and more difficult. Before, for example, you used to get a phishing test email, just as an example, right? You will get an email saying, hey, Krishna, click on this link and you will get $50 gift card, right? Something like that, simple as that. But now I'll say, hey, Krishna, I see that you live in Dallas and you work with this company XYZ, and I've seen that you've been there for 5 years and you are connected with Iqbal and things like that. They'll put all these things together and make it very relatable to you. And I'll say, okay, here, now you trust me. So social reengineering is helping a lot. So that's coming up with generative AI. So now your emails are even more and more difficult to guess that if it's correct or not. You have to become much smarter. Those risks are much higher now from what we had before.
Yesterday, I heard about a particular phishing. This happened in my own case. One of my friend who was traveling in India, they got a call from my LinkedIn profile picture saying that I am in some location, I need some transfer of money. This lady know me really well, and she was catching a plane and she did the transfer and then realizes, oh shit, what did I do? And she transferred 40,000 or whatever. Even then, she was saying, I never even thought, because it was your LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn address, everything was authentic. And then I think I literally called everybody and said, boss, this happened. You're right. The impersonation has become very
It's
foolproof,
deepfake,
and there
right?
is a lot of pressure to act immediately. That's the key. Anyway, in terms of now, what has happened generally, I've seen is, I know you have gone through a lot of mergers, acquisition especially. What are the challenges for a CIO when you are integrating different culture, different organization, and how do you keep your star performers motivated given the competition in the skill landscape? Especially if you have a great developer who is with you for a long time, suddenly there are some startups now offering salaries which are way beyond a normal industry standard. What is your thoughts on managing or retaining very high-end talent in your team?
First and foremost, this is a pure leadership question. And that's my favorite topic. Keeping talented people is one of the great skills a leader can have. In that, again, I'll refer back to Gartner conference because I've studied leadership a lot, but I learned recently things from Gartner also about leadership. You want to make sure that you are accessible to your team. You are humble at all times. So they showed a beautiful wheel about a lion and a mouse and a monkey and a T-Rex. It's a half-hour conversation, but the fact is, if I'm the lion as a leader and there's a mouse, let's say my team member, I need to give them space to become lion at some time. I need to become mouse at some time. So I need to build that relationship. I need to keep moving between lion and a mouse situation to keep that relationship with the team member. It's the relationship that's a key. I think people are not going to leave you just because of some dollars. If they are going to leave you, either they don't like you, can't work with you for poor leadership skills, or they truly feel that the technology or tech stack that you're using, it's obsolete and they need to go somewhere else where they can learn more or grow their career. So those are the two reasons they will leave. People are not going to leave for money immediately. People who are talented, they don't leave for money right away. Unless, of course, I'm going to make sure that everybody is paid according to industry standards. If somebody is talented and capable, I want to make sure I give him a little extra also so he or she doesn't find any encouragement to apply somewhere else as well. I think it's all about leadership, building these relationships with those team members, knowing them, understanding their attitudes. There was a beautiful diagram, iceberg picture that was shown in Gartner. I wish I could show it to you here. Maybe I'll send it to you after this meeting.
Sure.
This iceberg talks about the personalities that you deal with, right? The culture, the behavior, the faith, where they grew up, what culture, what family, all of that stuff is under the water. It's 10 times bigger than the little bit that you see at the top. That little bit that you see up the top, you have to work with that. And that is leadership. You cannot change somebody's faith. You cannot change somebody's background, education, family, life history, their story. You cannot change that, no matter how much hard you try. You should work with only those little things and make sure that you're successful and you're able to achieve your goal. There was a saying, hey, your goal is to achieve your goal.
Yeah, that's
what we need to focus on.
The next question I have for you is especially how do you keep up with various technology? I know you go to conferences like Gartner's. On a day-to-day basis, what exactly is your best practice? You read a lot or you brainstorm with your team? Help me understand to stay one step ahead. What best practices you have or what is your normal practice?
Are you talking about my personal practice or as a leader?
Personal, basically, as a CIO in an organization, if
Yeah.
the organization needs to be well ahead in
Yeah.
whatever you are doing.
Honestly, I've been meeting with a lot of CIOs in the last couple of years, many CIOs, many CISOs, many leaders. One of the things, of course, they do is they attend these conferences and mingle with each other and have conversations. For example, going back to Gartner again, they had workshops, which is the first time I had this experience, a workshop with other CISOs. What an amazing experience. Other conferences that I go to, they don't have these workshops, but this one had CISO workshops. So 10 CISOs sitting in one table. Think about it. Knowledge is unlimited. It was lovely. So conferences is one easy thing, but other than that, I think you have to read articles, you have to listen to different podcasts and stuff. For example, for cybersecurity side, quite regularly, religiously listen to Darknet Diaries. Jack Dorsey is a podcaster, absolutely amazing. It's very riveting every time I listen to him. Pretty much every day I listen to it. Then, of course, whenever you can, you want to do any studies that you can do, any college you can go to, university. You're never too old to learn, frankly.
Yeah.
You're never too old. Considering these risks that I've seen, frankly, in the beginning of the year, on a personal side, I've taken admission in Georgia Tech for Cybersecurity Masters. I already have an MBA. I already have an engineering degree. I have so much studies in computer science, but I decided to do Cybersecurity Masters from Georgia Tech. I said, hey, I'll just do it in parallel with my job. And because the cybersecurity is becoming more and more challenging, actually, the more I got into it, the more I realized that we knew nothing about it. Especially with the generative AI combination, it's just becoming quite deadly, I must say. That's why I realized, hey, I need to really study a bit harder. That's what I'm doing as well. On my personal side, on my team side as well, I keep the decent budget for education and training, and I constantly encourage them to focus on their areas and build their careers, look at it where they're going to go with 5 years from now. So those are things I work with my team members as well.
That's a very good policy. Especially, how do you juggle your full-time job with a course like cybersecurity from Georgia Tech?
I'm starting in August.
Oh, okay.
Again, it's a personal detail, but I was thinking of taking 2 courses, but then Georgia Tech sends me an email, and in all the open houses, they're telling, hey, don't underestimate it. This first course is very difficult. So they have told me 100 times now. I'm saying, no, I'm not taking the second one. I'll just take one. I know a couple of other students who did from Georgia Tech. It's an online course, and they said the rigor is still intense. It's Georgia Tech. You cannot underestimate it. And they've
Yeah.
stressed it. I found out from two other students who took the second class and they dropped both times. Two different people, they dropped the second class when they took it. So they're doing only one
Well,
class at a time. So I'm going to do one. It's minimum 15 to 20 hours. So I plan it out on Saturdays, Sundays, and weekdays.
actually, one of my nephew, he just graduated last year from Georgia Tech,
Awesome.
master's. Yeah, he's doing well for himself. He's a co-founder of AI startup in San Francisco. Oh, wow,
Awesome. Very nice. Very nice.
amazing. On the other note, this is basically a forward thinking question. In terms of emerging technology trends, where do you see the next 5 years going? People say about digital twin, they are talking about robotics, they are talking about other areas, right? What is your thoughts on what will happen in the next 5 years?
Again, when I give you the answer, I'm giving you from a very conservative side of things with a mid-sized company and seeing where things are. If you go 2, 3 years back, there was not a lot of conversation about AI. I've been in touch constantly. And now suddenly this year, agentic AI is the conversation. This is happening despite of 70% failure and many of the projects still in POC. Agentic AI is still the talk of the town everywhere you go. One thing is for sure, generative AI is here to stay. We are taking advantage of that. We talked about this as well. It's going to give you value. We are taking advantage from our chat GPTs, right? People are writing even papers for companies, right? Even universities have started to allow
Yeah.
writing papers through generative AI. They realize that you can't live without it.
Mhm.
Google search engine might be at risk because generative AI, Gemini, and other things are also competing with it. The AI is competing with it. These things will keep changing. What is happening in the next 5 years? I think generative AI will continue to expand, continue to find its place in different areas. For example, for us, translations has been successful. I'm not in the medical industry, but I've heard that they have been very successful there. They have been very successful in the customer service area, though not for us yet. We have to look at the legal aspect of things as well. Our chatbot, it answers questions, but sometimes it goes berserk, like hallucinates. I say berserk, but it's actually hallucinating. So sometimes it hallucinates. I can't afford that. My company cannot afford wrong answers. You probably heard about companies that have been sued or they've lost revenue because of that. We are not in that state. Having said that, this trend would continue. We can't close our eyes to it. And I say, hey, we'll keep at it. Actually, the day before yesterday, had a meeting with the CEO, and I said the same thing. We can't close our eyes to it. We will invest when we feel it's right time to invest, but we need to stay in touch with generative AI. We need to stay in touch with cybersecurity. The combination of both is even more deadly. So we need to really understand both of them well. They're constantly evolving. These threat actors on cybersecurity, they're absolutely becoming dangerous. We talked about deepfake already, right? Your name, your email, and your voice can be used against you. For now, the next 5 years, I think this generative AI and cybersecurity, those two are the big topics. Actually, I read somewhere three big topics that will be discussed in the next 5, 10 years. It just came to my mind. AI is one, cybersecurity is another one, and the third one is data science. So these are three big topics that will continue to be in conversation for the next 3 years.
Data science, huh? Okay. No, actually, I don't know, somewhere I read that this robotics thing is going to have a lot of impact, industrial impact, in the sense, for example, I saw the CIO of Chevron talking about certain use cases. In a lot of places where human cannot go easily, there are applications where robots can go
Yeah,
and make things much easier. For example, this talk about this big oil tankers which are there. Every 10 years or every 15 years, if there is a leakage or if there is a corrosion happening, they need to empty that, and that whole process takes 3 to 6 months.
yeah,
Empty it and defume it, and then only somebody can go inside. Why not send a robo when even if there is an oil there,
yeah,
see how much is the damage? If the robo can navigate and get whatever data is needed,
yeah.
that will be a huge cost saving. This is actually one of the use case they were talking about. There are a lot of use cases, especially on the robotics side. Interesting. They were saying things will happen, and there are a lot of companies who are spearheading those things.
We are doing it ourselves as well, actually. In our pleat pack area, we are using technology. Previously, people used to create those threads, pleats by hand, count pleats by hand, and now the machine is doing it. It's cutting according to the specs. Before they used to cut it with scissors and stuff. They used to clip before manually, and now the clipping is happening automatically. A lot of rotomolding stuff that's happening now automatically. We have robots there too. So yeah, robotics is coming into place as well, but we'll see how that goes. It's just like any other technology. So robotics definitely plays a role in manufacturing area and the areas where humans cannot do, of course.
Sure. Have you read any recent books which makes a good impact on your CIO role, which you can share with the audience?
Good question. As far as CIA role is concerned, no. But recent books that I've read about leadership, about personalities, behaviors, I take interest in human behavior. So I've read one of the book is called The Laws of Human Nature. It talks about human behavior in different situations. And I think that those are important for leaders to understand. There's another book called, it's the best of the names, but it's called Psychology of Stupidity. These are one of the two recent books, actually, because I was interested in understanding human behavior because we don't learn from experience. This is something I always talk about. We continue to make mistakes. We don't look at our past mistakes. We don't look at our circumstances. Just exactly a few minutes ago, we talked about the personality, this iceberg here. The majority of the iceberg is underwater. We don't look at that. It's not something I control. I didn't control where I was born, what religion I had, what upbringing I had, what circumstances I had in my life, what financial situations I had, what colleges I went to. If it was up to me, I would be born in a certain place and gone into this best university and the best faith and whatever. There's no best faith. Everybody's faith is best, right? So we just consider ourselves the best still. I think those things are important to understand this in a very diverse society. If we understand that, we appreciate the humanity of people. We love it. Even if they have imperfections, we understand their imperfection and say they have the imperfection because of different circumstances. We just still need to understand that. Just 2, 3 hours ago, a friend of mine, he's a venture capitalist, he's an angel investor, and he was trying to hire somebody, and the person was very aggressive with him. The person he's trying to recruit was aggressive to him. He's telling me, and I said, man, you got to forgive him and move on. The guy is trying to get a job, but still being aggressive. He sent me text also. And I said, okay, just forgive and move on. Maybe he's going through a difficult time, mental health issues, but yeah, he just doesn't know how to speak with the future manager. So yeah, you have to forgive and go on. I think those are the things that I learned, and I apply those principles as a CIO as well.
See, the other thing is I'm a little bit health conscious in terms of the pressure which the job brings to you sometimes. Every individual, one is the mental health, one is physically do 1 hour of exercise or why we are passionate about. How do you balance those things? On a personal level, are you a runner? What do you play sports? How do you spend your free time? I'm just asking some personal questions.
I was thinking of a name of a book, and I'm forgetting it just at the moment. It has to do with micro habits.
Yeah, atomic habits.
Atomic habits. Atomic habits. As
James
soon as I said
Clear.
it,
Yeah.
as
James
soon as I
Clear.
said micro habit, no, atomic habits. If you read this book, I think that's where it is. When I read this book, I realized that some people have this natural skills, and I feel like I may not be the smartest developer or great CIO or whatever. I may have a lot of weaknesses in there, but I was born with these atomic habits, little things that I do very quickly. I don't waste time on things that I shouldn't be. So you let go certain things and let others do it. Atomic habits, do things quickly and you'll be able to manage it. Those atomic habits allow me to manage my life. So I'll tell you one quick example, which might help other managers also. One of my director of infrastructure, he likes to walk for health reason as well during the work hours so that he doesn't feel bored or sleepy or he wants to stay active and he walks. And I said, how about instead of meeting in the office, we'll just do walk and talk meeting. Even though we are working from home, I make a call with him and it's 30 minutes of walk during the daytime, lunchtime, or anytime when we want to meet, we have this phone conversations, half-hour phone conversation. While he's walking, I'm walking, and we have done 2 miles. So we do these kind of things as well. Plus, of course, like I said, if you have right atomic habits, do things right and focus on the right things, and then you're able to manage it. I go to the gym every day. I play tennis, actually. I'm a very competitive tennis player, competitive table tennis player. Table tennis I do at home with a robot.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, but tennis I play with friends. So I have all these habits. But again, I don't spend time on little things. The funny thing is, I was guiding my boss, my new boss. I was guiding him also on certain things because I have experience in the leadership side, right? So I was suggesting to him, hey, sometimes you have to let go certain things to go forward. You cannot move forward if you don't let go things that you're holding on. Your job security should not be holding on things. Your job security should be on what you're going to get for the company. For example, if I have the BI experience, business intelligence, if I was great in business intelligence and writing SQL queries, I have not written a SQL code in 6 years. I've not written a Java code in 10, 15 years. It was a suggestion from one of my bosses. He was a CIO 15 years ago or so. He said, let go the past. Don't write any line of code anymore. And if you keep doing it, you will not grow. And never forgot that suggestion. It helps. Even though I can write it right now, I can do something in 5 minutes that somebody else will take 2 hours. I say, take 2 hours because it's not my job. I have to let it go. I have to move forward. That's how you succeed. Those are the habits that you have to
No,
build.
these are very good tidbits which you gave. You're right. You have to let things go. Then only
Yeah.
you can grow and you can allow others to grow as well. I love this Atomic Habits. I think there are a few things which I like about that book is he always says how if you want to be a runner, first put on your shoes and get out of the place at the same time. Into that habit rigor, I think there's a muscle memory should be there. Once,
Yeah.
even if you wear your shoes and take a few minutes of walk, you will start running. That's how to overcome the inertia. If you want to read every day, keep a book next to your bed so that before going, you see that book and then you open it and read it. For people who want to inculcate, he gives small tidbits like this, which is amazing. I love that book. I recommend that book to
I
everyone.
mean, to be successful in life, all you have to do is 5 minutes of work for everything. So there was an author, and somebody asked him, how did you write these 70 books or 80 books? He said, I was writing a paragraph every day. Come on. You just have to spend 10 minutes of every day, and at the end of the year, you have a book.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Thank you very much. You have any final thought for the audience?
No, thank you so much for having me, Krishna. I hope folks enjoy it, the conversation here. Keep reading the books. Keep reading the books that we talked about and read some other books. But in the end, I think it's all about people. I will leave that with this. Understand people. If you respect people, humanity, and understand that there are 80% of the things that they cannot change about themselves, or maybe more actually. I've just made up this number, 80%. There's a lot of things that they cannot change. Don't hold them for that. They cannot change it. It's not in their control. If you understand that, work with that 20%, and I think you'll be able to lead better, you'll be able to move forward, and you'll build good relationships with the teams as well. For tech sector as well, just keep studying. Don't run after the shiny objects. Just have this mid-sized company mentality like I have right now that I've developed in the last 6 years. I think you'll be successful.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Iqbal. I really appreciate your time and wisdom in sharing a lot of information with us today. Again, thank you, audience. Feel free to subscribe to the BizTech Pulse. We are available in Spotify platform as well. Looking forward to my next podcast. Thank you, Iqbal.